Werner Voss was born on the 13th of April 1897, and as soon as he was old enough to join, he was a member of the Crefeld militia. When the First World War broke out, he was then assigned to the 11th Westphalian Hussar Regiment. He was a naturally gifted pilot, and he graduated from horses to aircraft, joining Jasta 2 in November of 1916. By April of the following year, Voss had scored 24 aerial victories. Manfred von Richthofen, also known as the Red Baron, regarded Voss as a friend and a possible rival as Germany's highest scoring ace. During April of 17, Voss was awarded the Paul Mérite, Prussia's highest award, and he was becoming a household name in Germany. In May, he was posted to Jasta 5, his score rising to 34, and then was promoted to command Jasta 29 in July. He then moved again as acting commander of Jasta 14, and he was still only 20 years old. He finally joined Jasta 10 at the end of July 1917. In Jasta 10, Voss flew a Fokker triplane, one of the most recognisable aircraft of the First World War. Voss's plane had the distinctive chrome yellow cowling of Jasta 10, but with a face painted on the cowling to differentiate his aircraft. On September the 23rd, Voss was due to go on leave, and his brothers had arrived at his airfield to collect him, noting how tired he looked. The morning had seen him claim his 48th victory, and he had to complete an evening patrol before heading home. The evening patrol began with Voss flying his triplane, along with two pilots in Pfalz D3 fighters, and around 6:30 they became engaged in a large dogfight over Powell Capelle. This involved German Albatros fighters against British Camels and Spads, and also in the vicinity with British SE-5s, Bristol fighters and RE-8s. During the fight, an SE-5 flown by Lieutenant Hammersley with the British 60 Squadron was attacked by Voss. At this moment, 11 pilots of 56 Squadron arrived in the area. 56 Squadron was the highest scoring British formation, was packed with aerial aces. The pilots of 56 Squadron were split into two flights, with B flight comprised of the ace pilots Captain James McCudden, Captain Keith Muskrat and Lieutenant Arthur Rhys-Davids, along with Lieutenants Cronin, Young and Jeffs. C flight was commanded by Captain Gerald Bowman, along with Lieutenant Reginald Hodge and Lieutenant Richard Maybury. All three of these men were also ace pilots. Two more lieutenants filled out C flight's roster, Taylor and Gardiner. McCudden takes up the story. We were just at the point of engaging 6 Albatros scouts away to our right, when we saw ahead of us, just above Powell Capelle, an SE half spinning down closely pursued by a silvery blue German triplane at very close range. The SE certainly looked very unhappy, so we changed our minds about attacking the 6 V-strutters and went to the rescue of the unfortunate SE. The Hun triplane was practically beneath our formation now, and so down we dived at a colossal speed. I went to the right, Rhys-Davids to the left, and we got behind the triplane together. The German pilot saw us and turned in the most disconcertingly quick manner, not a climbing nor Immelman turn, but a sort of half-flat spin. By now the German triplane was in the middle of our formation, and its handling was wonderful to behold. The pilot seemed to be firing at all of us simultaneously, and although I got behind him for a second time, I could hardly stay there for a second. His movements were so quick and uncertain that none of us could hold him in his sights for any decisive time. The pilots of 56 Squadron closed on Voss and boxed him in above and below, but to their surprise, instead of fleeing, Voss turned to fight. Putting his aircraft into a flat spin, Voss attacked McCudden, putting holes in his aircraft, and then riddled Cronin's aircraft so badly the British pilot had to dive out of the melee and limp for home. C flight arrived to help, and the aerial combat became even more confused. None of the British pilots' reports tallied due to the confusion of the fight, but a few instances stand out. Muskrat's engine was holed by a German bullet and he was forced to leave the fight. A red-nosed Albatros that had arrived to help Voss was dispatched by Rhys-Davids, and incredibly, Voss was caught in the crossfire of 5 machines firing twin machine guns but survived, apparently unhurt. The 6 remaining British machines continued engaging Voss and they all dropped to 600 metres in height. Even though he had the height advantage and the opportunity to escape, Voss continued his attack. Flipping the little triplane at the attacking British scouts, he peppered Bowman's machine and had a head-on duel with McCudden. Meanwhile, Rhys-Davids had pulled alongside to change ammunition in his Lewis gun and rejoined the combat with a height advantage of 450 metres above Voss. Dropping down in a long flat dive, he fired point-blank range, raking the triplane from end to end. Voss's machine dipped and Rhys-Davids followed him again, firing at close range. The British pilot passed over Voss, but McCudden and Bowman saw what happened next. The German machine began what looked like a gliding landing, but quickly stalled, flipped inverted and crashed nose first into the ground. Voss was killed in the crash, but he had fought the ace pilots of 56 Squadron for at least 8 minutes and put bullets through nearly every one of their aircraft. On learning of Voss's death, tributes were paid to him in the local and national papers, including from Crown Prince Wilhelm and the aircraft designer Anthony Fokker, amongst other luminaries. The men who fought Voss were equally respectful, with McCudden remarking, "His flying was wonderful, his courage magnificent, and in my opinion he was the bravest German airman who it has been my privilege to see fight." The 20-year-old's grave was lost during the subsequent fighting on the ground, and he is now remembered alongside 44,292 German servicemen at the Langmark Military Cemetery near Ypres in Belgium. Voss may not be as well known amongst the pilots of the First World War as the Red Baron, but he was certainly close to equal in his fighting prowess and incredibly brave. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe for more in the future.